Hey guys, as you saw, Dad and I are up here doing a little snowshoeing and just making a day out here up in the mountains. So no real plans, just hike around, and we'll stop for some lunch later on and just make a day of it. So we'll see what happens, and of course thought we'd bring you guys along, so stay tuned. One of the things that Dad and I wanted to do while we were up here was set up this game trail camera and see what kind of game is moving through here. Possibly get a heads up for hunting season next year. We'll come back up next weekend and pick up everything in the camera and see what we got. Alright, so we've come down off the mountain a little bit and we've gotten down into this cedar grove, and we knew there was a stream bed down here. Didn't realize it would be dried up right now, but we found a nice little clearing in the cedars. So we're going to go ahead and take off the packs, take off the snowshoes for a bit, and make a fire and have ourselves some lunch. So we're going to get started processing some firewood. We'll put it to use here. While Dad's out using his machete or his parang to collect some of the larger firewood, I'm getting the fire prep going. And what I've got here is a piece of cedar bark, and I'm just taking the inside and scraping it, basically getting these cedar shavings down to the drier stuff, and that'll make a really good tinder. You know, use our fire steel, throw a spark in there with some of the other tinder, and we should be able to get a pretty good fire going in the snow. Nice fire, Dad.
Thanks.
Well, as you saw, Dad got the fire going for us, and now we've got a tripod set up because today Dad's going to work on his bush class making a pot hook. So he's out in the woods right now finding the right branch for that, because he's going to go ahead and hang his zebra pot right there from the tripod. That's how we're going to heat up our water for our lunch today. So as soon as he comes back, I'll do a little filming of him making the pot hook, and we'll see where the day takes us from there. One of the things I've noticed that I get asked a lot about on my videos is the food and the spices that I carry with me. So while I'm waiting for our bed of coals to get settled in for our food, thought I'd go over that real quick. What I've got here is a USGI poncho bag, and that's what I basically just keep my foods and my spices in. But I like to keep everything kind of organized, and so there's another stuff sack inside of there, and this is where I keep my utensils and my spices. So the first thing I've got is a light my fire spork. Of course, it's got the fork and cheesy little knife on one end and your spoon on the other end. And I keep a tea bowl, so basically if I want to make nettle tea or raspberry tea or something, and I don't have a tea bag, I can put the materials inside of here and steep it inside of my hot water, and basically it just hangs off the side of the cup with a little hook there. I also keep an REI titanium fork. I just don't really like the forks on the sporks, so keep the titanium one with me. And the item that everybody asks about is the spice tin. Now my mom got this for me a couple Christmases ago, and I carry it every time I go to the woods. And she got it from a company called Jas Townsend and Son Incorporated. Go to their website, it's just jastownsend.com. And when you get it originally, it comes with sea salt, black pepper, cinnamon, thyme, cayenne, and then they give you an empty one to do your own spice, whatever you want. And I've changed them up a little bit. I've got my sea salt, I've got the pepper, I've got the cinnamon and the cayenne. Never really had a use for the thyme, so I took that out and put in some bacon pepper that I got at the state fair this year. And then I put in some garlic salt on this one down on the end. And my dad carries one too, and he's got a good idea that I'm going to copy. He actually took a black Sharpie and marked each one. I usually try to keep them in line with the piece of paper here, but eventually that piece of paper will get lost, and I may get the cinnamon and the cayenne mixed up. So if I want something cinnamon, I don't want to be dumping a bunch of cayenne on there. So next time you see this, I'll probably have some black Sharpie writing down on the vials to tell me which spice I have for each one. But that's the spice tin. A lot of people have been asking about that. Again, you can check that out at jastownsend.com. And that's it for this little sack. But like I said, this one I just keep my food stuff in. I've got some dried lentils, lima beans that I make a soup with. Another baggie with my tea and sugar. And I always carry a couple things of oatmeal with me if we get stuck out here for the night. Gotta be something good, hot to eat. And I've got a pemmican bar. This is a fruit and nut pemmican. It's just a concentrated energy bar, basically. Lots of protein in it. It's a good snack while we're out here doing lots of activities and burning lots of calories. So that's basically the food I'm carrying with me today. Looks like the coals are starting to die down a little bit, so we're going to go check our hot water and see if we can get ourselves a Mountain House meal ready. So stay tuned, guys. Now earlier I showed you guys what I always carry in my pack as far as food stuff, and I had mentioned that we were going to eat Mountain House meals. Well, that's not something I always carry with me. So that little green sack that you saw is something that's always carried with me. And I did say Mountain House, but today I actually have a Mary Jane's Farm outpost, and it's an organic meal. Today I've got shepherd's meat pie, and so my water is just about boiling. So all I'm going to do is grab my cup that I've had sitting by the fire, and I'm going to add 1.5 cups to this. Like I have a measuring cup out here, so we're just going to guess, and hopefully that my shepherd's meat pie isn't going to be too runny. And let's hope that's about 1.5 cups. And we're just going to stir it up, close the bag back up, and let stand for 5 minutes. We should have ourselves a nice hot meal. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes now, so the Mary Jane's Farm Outpost shepherd's meat pie should be ready to go. But the first thing I'm going to do is get into my spice tin and get the bacon pepper out, because everything tastes better with bacon. Dump some of that in there. Now these vials have a real nice cork to plug them up. Kind of goes back to the settler days. That's the whole idea of Jas Townsend's website, is they sell a lot of things from that era. So we're going to stir in some of that bacon pepper. Give it a nice scoop. Doesn't that look delicious? See the mashed potatoes, some of the meat flavoring. We'll give it a try. And that is really, really good. So that's Mary Jane's Farm's Outpost. You have to get some more of those. A little bit smaller package than the Mountain House. And The only thing I don't like about it is they don't ziplock. You actually have to just fold it over while you wait for it to steep and let the water soak into all the dehydrated foods. But other than that, really good tasting meal so far, and a nice lightweight dehydrated food to carry with you while you're out backpacking or snowshoeing like Dad and I. Well, Dad and I both have our meals done and hot. We got ourselves some hot tea. I'm going to sit here on this log and enjoy some lunch, warm up a little bit, put the snowshoes back on, and go do some more exploring. So, see you guys in a little bit. Well, folks, thanks for coming along. That was Dad and I's day out here snowshoeing. Had a really great day. We got to go up and set up a trail camera, see what kind of stuff is moving along up here. And we got to have a fire, got to have some lunch. Dad got to knock out a couple more of his classes for bush class. And we gave ourselves an excuse to come up here next weekend to check out the trail camera, see what's moving around up in this area. So until next time, folks, thanks for coming along, and I'll see you later. Go out and live.